Hey guys, so welcome to Marketing Your Real Estate Business. I'm going to share my screen real quick and bring up the PowerPoint. And so the spirit of what I'm going to go through today is we're going to unpack a lot of content for sure. But that is the point. There's going to be a lot of content. And so I'm not going to have time to go deep on many of these points. I'm going to try, but my challenge to you is any one of these that you want to know more about and specifically set something up for your business, please reach out to me and we will do just that. That's kind of what I'm here for. I am here to kind of make your lives easier and help you get to the next level. So the easiest thing is to book a time with me on my calendar. That just choose a time that works best for you, and that link can be found on the homepage of our office website. Okay, all right. So as we are into a new month, I usually take this week to review the prior month's statistics, and I've been tracking this since the start of the pandemic. So I will just kind of bring these up real quick. So I found something pretty interesting. So the top half is pre-owned homes, and the bottom half are these stats for new construction. And you can kind of see a pretty significant backward decline for February when it comes to both closings and new listings. And so, I'll just kind of take this county by county as pretty much between 12 and 15% that we're down in terms of overall closings for the month of February. So this is February this year as compared to February last year. Now, with the exception of Kaufman, everybody is pretty much down. If you take a look at new listing, we are down by gangbusters. And so that really started in January, where we started to see a pretty significant decline to prior year in new listings. So here is my my summation is that, if you go back to March and April and even May of last year, this is all because of the pandemic, right? Sky was falling, didn't quite know what was happening. This is because there is a shortage of inventory, all right? And so that directly correlates with this. So, a lot of us are living this in real life. It is just impossible to find a buyer, a home. So is it going to dry up for a little bit? I think so. To what degree, just not sure yet, but boy, this is almost half down to prior year. So that's a little concerning. Now, new construction is the same way. Just keep in mind that these are going to be homes that are only represented through the MLS. And so, there was going to be a natural decline anyway because builders can't build these homes fast enough. And many of them aren't even putting their homes in the MLS. But nevertheless, 51% down in new listings just in Denton County, 36 in Dallas, 34 in Tarrant. It's interesting. So what is interesting, though, is that if you primarily work in these counties, well, if you hope to get any business, you're going to have to go out further where there is business. And if you look in Kaufman and Rockwall, well, that's more rural area. And as population tends to migrate to those areas, that is where the business is. So, the future might be for your business that you have to branch out a little bit further to go where, A, the affordable housing is, and B, just the housing is. So just kind of keep that in mind. So let's go into the marketing piece of the meeting. So, the rules of the game when it comes to marketing you or marketing your business. The first one is, I wouldn't spend any money on anything that doesn't have an ROI. And, us as realtors, I think from the time that we apply for a real estate license, we start to get bombarded with phone calls from the Zillows and the realtor.coms of the world and the XYZ company that wants to sell us something that they propose will market the heck out of our business. And so it is very easy to play into that old adage of, well, you have to spend money to make money. Well, that's not always the case. And so again, the minute you have to write a check for something, make sure that you can measure it with regards to your return on investment. All right. And then don't waste your time on anything that doesn't get you more closings ever. And I highlighted time because the first one I highlighted money, the second one I highlighted time. Both are commodities in your business. And so you will never get the time back that you waste on something that doesn't end up in a closing. Okay. So that goes for marketing, not just purchasing something like an ad, but, investing your time into something marketing wise that doesn't propel your business forward. A great example I can think of is that if it's really inexpensive to have a booth at some fair that, you're going to be the only real estate agent there, that might sound great. But if it's, the type of event that no one's going to stop by anyway, like these events around town where, it's a taste of whatever, a taste of Texas, a taste of Dallas, whatever. And there's an insurance booth out there. I mean, I just feel so sorry for the guy because I can't imagine anyone stopping by. So anyway, all that to say, just be mindful of the time that you invest in your business and make sure that that time always leads to a closing. So the best thing to do, because you should treat your business like a business, is you really need to create a marketing plan. Okay, if you were to go out and buy a business and you needed a loan to buy that business, the bank would require a marketing plan, a business generation plan, hey, if I lend you money, have you given thought to how you're going to market your business? It is no different in real estate. So in my opinion, you need to have a digital marketing plan, a print marketing plan, and an in-person marketing plan. And each of these are going to be in some degree either passive or active. Active means that if you don't show up to do the activity, you're not going to get a return. Passive is things like digital Facebook ads or a drip campaign that goes out on a schedule that you don't have to touch. Right? That's passive marketing. You need to think about the frequency. So marketing is repetition. I was just saying to my wife the other day how I was sick of seeing a couple of ads that I just typically always see on TV. And, as bugged as I was about that, I realized that, they're actually doing their job. They just kind of hit you over and over and over again with the same message, the same ad. Well, the same goes for our own marketing. The same goes for growing any business, period. You're never going to convert a sale on the first touch of anything. So be mindful that it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of frequency. And then think about how you're going to measure your return. So I think about the calls that all of us get, specifically from companies that want to sell us, as an example, an ad on the back of a shopping cart. And as attractive and as logical as that sounds, because you have a captive audience for probably an hour, I don't know how you measure that. I don't know how you know that a customer came from the back of that shopping cart unless they mention it. And so even if you put in, hey, mention this ad and get 10% off, I mean, that's rare because that requires work on behalf of the customer. But so things like that, I mean, unless you can't just say, well, I'm not sure how you measure it, but I know you have to be out there doing stuff. Well, Yeah, but you have to be strategic and smart about what it is that you're doing. All right. And then, be consistent with your message. Your audience will find you. It's much better to establish a marketing plan, and really anything that you do in business, and attract the kinds of customers that you want versus chase customers. So in the example of the shopping cart, you don't know who you're going to get, right? And you could be getting calls from people that want to buy an $80,000 home, or people that want a lease, things that really aren't the best use of your time. And so, is it better to niche down into, as an example, just focusing on seniors, just focusing on military, just focusing on first-time home buyers? That will attract the customers that you want instead of kind of that shotgun approach. And then it is a 17-day cycle you're fighting. So what I mean here is that, and the numbers vary based on whatever source you're talking to, but the theory is that every 17 days, people are going to forget who you are and what you do. Now, I think I do a really good job at knowing my neighbors. I've lived in the same house for 15 years now, and I know my neighbors pretty well. However, there is only one that I could tell you what it is that they do for a living. And the only reason is he's a firefighter at the DFW airport. And the only reason that is because every now and then he'll post a picture of him and his buddies in their gear, going through their firefighter training. But everybody else, I can tell you, they told me what they do, but I couldn't tell you what it is that they do if you ask me. So same goes for us, especially because this space is so crowded. There are so many of us that it is hard to stand out. So just know that about every 2 weeks, you're going to need to get your marketing message out there as if it had never been out there before, because people forget. Okay. And then think about passive ways versus active ways to market. You need to engage in both. I always say that, when people ask me, well, what marketing tactics work in real estate? I usually say everything works and nothing doesn't. So you got to do a little bit of everything, more of the things that actually prove to work for you. But you do have to be active in all places. So you have to do a little bit of active marketing, and also passive marketing as well. So the best way to track and measure your marketing efforts is to actually time block when it is that you're going to do this. Now, this is on our website, this template. And for those of you that have seen this, the top portion, I actually present a sample of how a typical day could be filled out. But I've left a blank one here just to illustrate that, we all have 8, 10, 12 working hours in the day. You have to, excuse me, you have to make the most of those hours. Now, some of you have full-time jobs, and so there is no right answer with regards to when you do it. You just have to commit to a certain amount of time every day. So on Monday, maybe that's from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Maybe on Tuesday, that's from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Whatever it is for you, just make sure that you're sticking to it. Okay. This is on our website, so feel free to go there and grab that and fill this out. All right. So the marketing message. So you are always selling, as a real estate agent, trust and processes. All right. A lot of, especially new agents, or those that, as an example, have never had a listing, always say, well, what if they ask me how many homes I've sold or how experienced I am? Well, first of all, you'd be surprised at how rarely they actually ask that. Number two, it's interesting to me how the general public hires us, because if we're in a listing presentation, we can say anything. if they asked us that question, which again, they rarely do, we could say, well, last year I sold 15 homes. I mean, so what are they supposed to do? I mean, is that good? Is that not good? Is that a truth? Is that a lie? And so I don't think that that ever matters. I think that what you're really selling is trust and processes. They hire you, even if they've sold a home in the past, year or two, to help them through that process, right? And because every transaction is going to be slightly different, and so they are hiring us and hoping to put their trust in us to guide them through the processes of buying or selling a home. So the more you can emphasize those two things, the more likely you are to get a deal. So that, in a nutshell, should be your marketing message. It is less about selling you than it is about selling trust in you and trust in yourself, leading them through those processes. All right. Secondly, building a true personal brand takes time, takes a lot of time, by the way. You need to try lots of things before you settle into who you are. So, for those of you that have been in the business for a while, I'm sure that what your message was and who you were in the first year of your business is a lot different than it is today. That's just the way it is. And so, although it is important to think about what your outward presentation is to the general public, I wouldn't get too hung up on it because that is likely going to change. The best advice I can give you is just be who you are. There is only one of you, and that should be enough with regards to your marketing message. Thirdly, be responsive and be confident and intense. So responsiveness, confidence, and intensity wins always. So responsiveness means be available, be approachable, respond to a client whether you're in the middle of dinner or not. You've got to be responsive. Speed to the market always wins. All right, confidence. Exude as much confidence as you can. And I like to say that this is the yes is the answer, what's the question, right? So always be at the ready to solve your client's problems. And intensity. And I don't mean overbearing intensity. I mean exhibit a level of urgency. All right. So if you've worked hard to get a buyer client and they want to go see homes during a time that might not be convenient for you, by all means, don't say, well, that's not going to work for me. Let's just try an hour later. I mean, sorry, but you got to move mountains to lead with the intensity card. Okay. You've got to some degree, be at the beck and call of your clients, or quite frankly, they're going to find somebody else who will. So intensity meaning exhibit a level of urgency. Relationship building equals time. All right. So in real estate, it is very popular to talk about technology and all these things that seemingly create clients to just fall from the sky and start working with you. And the fact of the matter is that it's relationship building that is going to get you clients. And if it's not, if you are buying leads as an example, and you're closing those transactions, I would argue that you haven't had enough time to build a relationship. And why is that dangerous? Because if you don't have a deep relationship with your clients, they're not going to refer you. And you're not going to have an incentive to follow up once that closing has come and gone. Too many agents are transactional focused and don't understand that for every closing, they should count on 2 to 3 to 4 referrals from that one person. Well, that can't happen if you haven't taken the time to build a relationship. Next, be mindful of your appearance and all that you do. Okay, not just your outward appearance, but your marketing message in general. Okay, Are you posting things on social media that you shouldn't? Um, are you dressing appropriately? Are you speaking appropriately? Things like that, your entire outward appearance. All right, the next, marketing is easy when you know your why and your who. So why are you doing this business and who is your audience? And that's probably the more important one. If you know who your audience is, then you know to not worry about the other audiences that you're not going after. And so if you don't like to work with first-time home buyers, as an example, don't market to them. If your focus is only military, if you've gone out and gotten a military designation, then that is where your entire focus should be, right? Do that one thing really, really well. And then ABV, always be visible. And there are lots of ways to be visible. I'm not just talking about in person. I do mean on social media, through email, all sorts of ways. All right, so marketing tips. Use high quality resources, whether it be photography, postcards, flyers, social media pages, websites, blogs, newsletters, things like that, even business cards. So, anything that you do that they can consume in terms of content has to be professionally done and first rate. Okay. In terms of postcards, there is a company that I've used for years. It's called CoreFact, CoreFact.com. And they are a real estate mail house company. They have lots of different templates. The product is wonderful. It's real professionally done, and they're the least expensive and the highest quality I have found. So if you want to send out such a mailer, check out CoreFact. Create target posts to attract prospects to your unique value or neighborhood expertise. So, and by post, obviously, we're talking about social media here. So again, if you are targeting first-time home buyers, you're not going to post something that is relevant to a senior buyer, right? So this is as opposed to taking the shotgun approach, which is, let me just post something general and see who calls me on it. Okay, make it targeted. Share the experiences of your past and current clients so prospects can see themselves working with you. So, Facebook is famous for this, right? A lot of people post all these, seemingly bragging posts about, oh, I just closed this home or I just did this. I think the best posts you can do in that arena is, like I say here, maybe post a picture of your client's closing, holding that big key or whatever prop that the title company might have, because that enables other people to see themselves working with you. It exudes a sense of success that you're out there working. And so that in and of itself is a great marketing tool. And then photos and video, for that matter, are better than a text message. So if you're sending out a drip campaign through email that does not have pictures in it, it is likely not getting read, just because we get bombarded with just so many things to read and consume. Okay, so just FYI. And then create value through information. So, and try and avoid things like what you normally see all over the place, which is 5 tips to stage your home, 5 tips to buy a home, 5 tips to list your home. I mean, those are getting to be overused. And so something more strategic, like, I've always suggested one of those RPR reports that are specific to either a neighborhood or a person's home, that's targeted. And so that's what I mean by creating value through information. As realtors, we do have access to information that the general public does not have access to. First and foremost is the sales price of any home. That is not public information in Texas. So that will attract people to you. Okay, so try and do that through information. And then this is probably the most important tip of the day. Start with one initiative and then add another every other month if you need to. But I see too many agents try too many things at the same time and only give a little bit of effort to each one, only to find out in the end, none of them actually work. So if you were going to put all of your eggs in social media basket, make sure you don't do anything else. If you are only going to do print, whether it be postcards or a newspaper ad, just do those and make sure that you tweak that process to where it starts paying off, because it will. It will start to pay off. All right, so marketing ideas. So let's talk about the digital medium first. All right, so YouTube channel. So I like YouTube because Google owns them. And because a video works better than an article that they might have to read, YouTube is, I think, the second largest search engine. I'm trying to get better at using YouTube to search for things, just because it's easier. I mean, if you want to know something about anything, just go to YouTube and someone has done a video on it, and it's easier to just sit there and consume it and hear somebody else talk than it is to read an article, let's face it. And so, I've used this example before. For the life of me, I don't understand why this has worked so well, but about 2 years ago, as part of one of these training sessions, I did a session on farm and ranch, and I recorded it and put it on the YouTube channel so that the agents could go back and look at it. And it's 30 minutes long. It is not long. It's probably too short. I probably didn't unpack enough with regard to the farm and ranch contract, but it's public. And I looked at it the other day. I've gotten like 1,100 views on that video, and I still can't, for the life of me, understand why, other than I am obviously coming up in search, in some kind of search result, whether they're searching Google or they're searching YouTube or farm and ranch contract. In fact, the only reason I looked at it the other day was because someone wrote in the comments a question about the contract. And they're from all over the state. They're not even from this area. And so he had a very specific and time-sensitive question about the contract. And YouTube sends me an email on it, as they will when anyone ever writes a comment. And I responded to him. And so that kind of prompted me to look at how many views it had, and I was just astounded. And so, don't be afraid of YouTube. It is just a great medium to get your content out there. And I know realtors that have done this and have gotten leads from doing this. And it is also from videos that they did years ago that someone just kind of stumbled on and thought enough to call them, and the agent started working with them as a client. So, all right, so then the usual suspects, Facebook, Instagram. If you are not a big poster, I am not typically someone that posts a whole lot on social media, but if you don't, that's okay. But you can like, share, and comment often on other people's posts, and that will serve just fine as marketing on social media. There is no better compliment you can give someone than sharing something that they have posted. All right. And so that just is a somewhat passive way to keep your name top of mind. Okay, make sure your profiles are filled out on all channels. So, on all of the, Zillows and Realtor.coms of the world, the public can go in there and look for an agent. Okay, it's right in the upper left-hand corner of Zillow, but you're not going to show up if you're not there. So go on to all these third-party channels and make sure that your profile is filled out and you have a picture. It's very important to include a picture. All right, neighborhood Facebook page. So if your neighborhood or subdivision doesn't have a Facebook page, even if they do, make one and start adding people to it. Now, the 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 reality of social media and anything that you do in marketing is that you have to continue to do it. And it's very popular to talk about how active someone is on social media and all that until it comes time to actually do the work. I mean, if you've ever made this part of your business, you know how labor intensive it is to post something on social media. You got to do it 3, 4 times a week. And even that, it's probably not enough. So it takes a lot of work. So I say that because if you decide to create a neighborhood Facebook page, I am telling you that this one initiative will bear fruit. Someone in the brokerage sent me an article about someone that moved to Texas from California, and she started a Facebook page called Move to Texas, and she is up to 30,000 subscribers from California on that page, which we have agents that are in that same situation. They moved here from California, and I've been suggesting that for years, but it doesn't have to just be that one example. They're moving from everywhere. And so would it be advantageous to create such a page for other states and other areas that are moving here and pay Facebook to place an ad in those states? I think the answer is yes. This will clearly bear fruit. If you do nothing else on social media but this, time well spent. Okay. Be present on vendors' pages. This is a biggie, and this is very, very passive. So I know plenty of HVAC folks, roofers, inspectors, electricians, plumbers, but I only really work with a core few because I just know their workmanship and I feel comfortable referring them. Well, you should be in the same situation. And those kinds of businesses rely on referrals just like we do. And they all have a web page. And so the idea here is to place a link to either a web page if you have one, if you don't, your business Facebook page or something, or just your contact information, and tell them that we'll reciprocate. And if you don't have a website, we can put it on our website. Okay, we can just make them part of the partner list on our public website. So don't be afraid to do that. That is a great way to get clients. Video text and instant messaging. So Facebook Messenger is great because you don't have to be friends with someone on Facebook to send someone a message. I see lots of posts on Facebook from the public to the degree of, well, I'm looking for a recommendation for an electrician or for a roofer. And we have in PDF format a vendor booklet on our website that you can just attach to a Facebook message and send it out to that person. Video text work well as well. Video text works better than a text. So don't be afraid to open up your camera, hit video, turn that thing around, send a real quick message. I'm talking 15, 25 seconds and send it off to people. Email drips. So this, in my opinion, is the very least you should be doing. If you don't have an email campaign, you're missing out. And so under our marketing tab on our website, we have marketing content there. And so I have at least all the photos for holidays and then some. So you're going to have at least 12 or 14 or so to send out. The company that I use is Mailchimp, mailchimp.com. It's free. And if you just spend the time to set up a template, and I can help you, but you can schedule all these to go out, on Easter, on St. Patty's Day, on Christmas, on New Year's, on Veterans Day, whatever it is. You don't have to do anything. Just set it up and it'll go out to your contacts that you add in there, right? So this, at the very least, should be what you're doing. And I never recommend that it be too real estate heavy. I mean, I would avoid sending out email campaigns that are about how to fix your roof or how to spring clean. I mean, those are, again, being overused. Wishing someone a happy birthday, or recognizing Veterans Day, happy 4th of July. I think that carries better. All right, blogs, video blogs, they certainly increase their search results. I'm not sure if people are reading blogs as much as they were when they first came out, but they are a great way to get your marketing message out there. All right, print. So people still do print marketing. So postcards to your farm. So a farm being a geographical area or a subdivision that you're sending postcards out to. Be mindful that it needs to be a neighborhood with high turnover, and I can help you find out what those neighborhoods are, by the way, through RPR. But postcards or direct mail in general has a very low return, like 1%, 2% if you're lucky. So you're going to have to send out a lot of them, and a lot of them frequently. And that's going to mean a lot of money. So I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying that you got to stick with it to really get any kind of return. All right. Add in your local newspaper. And it's important to specialize here. So when I say add in the local newspaper, I don't mean the Dallas Morning News or the Austin Statesman. I mean your local town newspaper, because people feel a connection to that newspaper. It doesn't come out as frequently, and so when it does, people read it, and you have a better chance of specializing here than you do anywhere else. I mean, where else can you be considered a neighborhood expert than in your own town? Okay. One-page resume at open houses. So I have created for everyone, I don't know whether you know this or not, it is on our marketing tab, a one-page resume for you specifically. It outlines how you're going to work with a buyer, how you're going to work with a seller. It is editable, so if you want to put your own content in there, great. But I've kind of done all of the copy for you. So no one really in real estate is doing this. Most people just kind of wing it. They hand out their business card and that's it. So the resume is great to leave at open houses or include in buyer packets, seller presentations, those types of things. I like those things because they can hang on to it, and they do. Right? A digital ad is consumed once, never to be seen again. The one-page resume people tend to hang on to. Flyers to vendors and local businesses, right? So maybe that flyer is your one-page resume. Maybe it is advertising an open house that you're going to do, advertising an open house someone else is doing, something of that nature. But get it out to your vendors, put signs in, business windows, those types of things. Great, great marketing. Business cards on bulletin boards. So nearly every business either has a bulletin board where you can put a business card. Restaurants are great for this, or maybe at the checkout counter of, your oil change place, they have a rack where you can put your business card. Don't miss out on those opportunities. Those are great ways to get business for sure. RPR reports at open houses or with your farm. So RPR has specific reports and things you can give at open houses, along with just buyers and sellers in general. So these are great marketing pieces because you can't create a report from RPR and not have your information on it. So again, it's a piece of paper. It's something they can hang on to, and it will always have your contact information on there. Real estate column in print or digital. So, and this kind of goes hand in hand with the next one, get interviewed by a local paper or magazine. So if you are a realtor, you are by default, in my opinion, a real estate expert. And so your opinion matters. And so whether it's someone interviewing you, and they all need content, by the way. So don't think that they're too busy to talk to a real estate agent. Every newspaper, every publication is always looking for more content. But if you don't get hit up by one of these guys, maybe write your own real estate column, get it out there. There's tons of ways to get your content out there if you just want to write an article. If you go to the digital version of the Texas Realtor magazine, you can actually write for them, believe it or not. So if you want to submit an article and be famous to our association's magazine, go to the digital version. I think it's under communications. Okay, handwritten notes. So this works well. No one does them. You don't have to do a lot of them, but you want to ensure any content that you're presenting to the public is getting consumed. And too many realtors send flyers and things of that nature in business envelopes. And a lot of those don't get opened. But a handwritten note that's hand addressed is going to get opened. So whether that be to your sphere of influence, prospects that you're working with, or 25 of your closest neighbors, do it. And don't do it just once. You could send out a note every month and have it be effective. Okay, you can't just do it once. And then, of course, listings and signs. Okay, so obviously the sign itself is only going to be seen by people that drive by it. So it's also good to take a picture of that sign that you have the listing for and post it on social media, or do an email blast and send out that picture and say, oh, my newest listing, if you know of anybody that might be looking to buy, refer them to me, type of deal. I have an agent that likes to donate part of her commission to a charity. Great marketing idea. I mean, aside from the fact that it's a great thing to do, that resonates with people. People like to know that you're giving back and that you're not just in it for the commission. And so you can create riders that go on your listing signs that say, if your charity of choice is the Red Cross, you could have something created that says, this is a Red Cross home. And then underneath it, maybe it says, portions of the proceeds of the sale of this home are going to the Red Cross. I mean, people love that stuff. Now, again, the only ones that are going to see it are the people that drive by it or are there for a showing. So that is a great message to put out there. So take a picture of that sign with that rider on it and post it on social media. The next level up from that is send it to the charity. And I mean, because they all have Facebook pages, and get on their page. And if they allow you to post a photo of your listing with the rider that says, we're going to donate a portion of the sale to Red Cross. That goes on Red Cross's Facebook page. And oh my gosh, all of a sudden you are off to the races. Okay. Vendor booklet. So our vendor booklet that we have is a great marketing tool. It is a good leave behind for open houses, a great thing to include in your sellers' presentations because they might need to, repair some things in the home. But it is a great marketing tool. I can give you the editable version so that you can put your contact information on there as well. So let me know if you want that. All right. This is an example of print advertising that I see all the time. Now, when I mean all the time, I have seen these ads for these realtors for years, plural. The only one I haven't seen, I'm not sure if you can see my cursor, is the one in the upper right-hand corner that says cash for houses. I don't know if I remember seeing that, but I have seen the one below it. And I've seen the one to the left of that one for the RE/MAX agent. And I've seen the one up at the very top where it says cash for your house, any condition, any price, called Jim. And so I've got to think that these work. It is not inexpensive to put an ad in the Dallas Morning News. And so print advertising is still going, and they must work for these folks because these have been in the paper for a long time. All right, in-person marketing ideas. Open house. If you are hosting an open house, exploit the fact that you're hosting it to the nth degree, right? So you're there. I wouldn't, just hope that people come in and you don't engage with them and they leave without saying a word or taking anything from the table. You've got to have things like comps. You've got to have your one-page resume. You've got to have something about that home that you're hosting. Anything that they would, the vendor booklet, anything that they would find helpful. All right, maybe you give them a parting gift that, when they leave, just even if they haven't said a word to you, just say, thank you so much for coming. I give everyone that comes in some materials to take with them. This is for you. And it should include all the marketing material that you have there for them. Okay, so an open house is a great way to hand out marketing material. Networking events. So this should be getting better as we get past the COVID-19 crisis. But in-person events, networking, my gosh, this is the way it's done, right? Is try and get in front of as many people as you possibly can. And so that doesn't have to be joining a networking group necessarily. It could be hosting a garage sale or having a booth at some event. I mean, again, to go back to make sure that it's effective and that it's the right event to be at. But these in-person meetings where you can actually speak to people is key. Okay, host a buyer-seller seminar in an office, whether that be title company, lender. You can do it on Zoom as well. Those types of things really bode well for marketing in person. Pop buys. So a pop by is where you pop by where somebody is, be it their work or home, and just leave a little gift. I used to go to the dollar store and pick up little cheesy things and come up with some catchy saying, attach my business card and just leave it. So they don't have to be there, but the fact that you went out of your way to stop by and leave them something creates you being memorable. All right, coffee with your sphere or something, lunch, whatever. Nothing beats an in-person one-on-one meeting. And then sponsor events. As I mentioned, does your HOA have a quarterly garage sale? Can you sponsor a table full of, bottled waters, whatever it is? I would avoid, because we all get these calls, having your logo on the back of a t-shirt for a 5K or a baseball team or something where it's too crowded. I just don't know if that's the best use of your funds, but sponsoring some kind of event, if it's the right one, absolutely. And then be a trusted referral partner with your vendor. So everyone says, well, everyone knows a real estate agent. It's just so hard to set yourself apart. And yeah, they do. But as you guys probably know, there's plenty of agents that you wouldn't refer. And so that's the same thing with just the general public. I mean, I mentioned before, I know plenty of roofers and electricians. I tend to recommend one or two because the other ones I don't feel comfortable recommending. Why? Because that reflects poorly on me. So the more you can take the time to be that trusted referral partner with your vendors, the better off you're going to be. Now, when I say vendor, I mean people that are in people's houses for a living all day, every day, right? So those are going to be HVAC people, roofers, electricians, plumbers, interior design, flooring people, these are the folks that you need to rely on. All right, so marketing materials, you have your business card, right? Make sure it looks professional. Get it out to as many people as you possibly can. Your one-page resume that I've again created for you. RPR reports. Again, generate a report from RPR and it will already have your contact information on there. Note cards, pop-by gifts, postcards, flyers, and that's it. So with the exception of maybe postcards, because you're probably mailing those out in large quantities, you'll notice that everything else is free or really cheap, right? So again, I mean, I don't think you need to spend a lot of money in this business to get business. I think it's relationship driven. And so if you take what you have on this list and are strategic about it and not take the shotgun approach, you're going to get business, right? So let's talk about what Trek says about marketing, all right? Because with the exception of property management, Trek gets the most complaints about marketing and deceptive advertising and just misrepresenting yourself in general. So the Trek rules on marketing are actually pretty simple. They used to be more complicated, so I'm not going to tell you what they were. I'm just going to tell you what they are. So what is marketing in the eyes of Trek? Answer: everything. Your business card, a website, anything on the back of a t-shirt. Okay, so what they say quite plainly is that all you need as a requirement is our name. Okay, you don't have to have our address. You don't have to have mine or your license number. You don't have to have a phone number, nothing. But to be compliant with Trek, it has to at least say the name of the brokerage, and the font has to be at least half the size of the contact information, that being either an email or a phone number. Now, if you've ever done one of these ads, you know that that's kind of a hard rule to break. They, you know, just by the way everything looks on an ad, it's naturally going to be at least half the size of the phone number, but they just don't want the brokerage name to be this tiny postage stamp size type of deal in the lower right-hand corner. They want to make it obvious that you are working for a brokerage. You are not in charge, so to speak. Okay, so anything else that you want to put on advertising, have at it. Now, here's the deal. A lot of people ask, do you put our phone number, our address? I would not on anything. I would put the brokerage name and that's it. Because on any marketing you do, you're going to want to get the calls. You don't want calls coming to me or emails coming to me. And if you don't live in the town that the brokerage is in, then you're not going to want our address because a client might say, well, you live in Fort Worth, the brokerage is in Flower Mound, and that doesn't make sense. And so avoid that too, if you want my opinion. So, but anything else is fair game. Just want to make that clear. All right, so useful real estate tools. So believe it or not, our association has marketing flyers for us. I have used them and they're on our website as part of a buyer and seller presentation, but go to this website and download some of those marketing materials. If you just go to texasrealestate.com and type in the search bar marketing, you'll find them. All right. So then we have on our website under buyers and sellers, 3 sheets. Now the 3 sheets are preparation for a client, whether they're a buyer or seller, with regards to what's about to happen. And the first sheet is what will happen next? What does this process look like? Okay. The second sheet is things you should never do during this process. An example might be if you are a buyer, don't in the middle of this process go out and open up a credit card or make a large purchase, right? So there's those types of things. The third are frequently asked questions. So they are in the spirit of preparing your client for what they're about to experience. All right. It also prevents them from asking you a lot of questions because they are likely covered in these 3 sheets. Now, I include this in the buyer and seller presentation because you may not get every client that you present to, but these things serve as really good marketing materials. Okay, so don't not include them. Next is Sly Dial. So Sly Dial, I kind of like, I kind of don't like. I'll tell you what it is. So Sly Dial, and we've all gotten these calls. It is your phone rings, you go to answer it, and it drops off. And then a minute later, you get a voicemail. That's Sly Dial. Sly Dial purposely calls a number, and it really doesn't ring. It just goes to that number's voicemail. And so it's kind of a passive aggressive way to to try and reach a client. I don't know if it's useful for anything other than maybe getting the word out to a lot of people that you're having an open house, or getting the word out that a new listing just came on the market. Let me know if you have a buyer. I don't know if it's as useful for, hey, I want to get in touch with you type of deal. I mean, you really should call them directly for that. All right. Next is Fiverr.com. Fiverr's been around for a while now, over 10 years. And Fiverr started out small, like they all do, and now they've just kind of exploded into this graphic design company. And it used to be, hence the name Fiverr, you could pay a IT person, typically overseas, $5 to create a logo for you, or an email blast for you, or a sign for you, something like that. Now it's kind of like Dollar General. Like, you think that everything should be $1 in there, but it's not. It's like $3, $4. So same goes with Fiverr. Not everything is $5 anymore, but if you did a video on YouTube, as I mentioned before, and you sent it to Fiverr, they can do a real cool intro and outro for you at the beginning and end of the video. That's kind of some of the things that they do. They'll add music to it, and it looks really, really cool. All right. Reverse prospecting. So reverse prospecting is only available to you if you have a listing. If you go into the input tab of the MLS, you will see, and go to your listing, you'll see at the bottom of the listing a tab called reverse prospecting. And that is when, so if you've ever gotten an email from another agent, and it's usually because advertising their listing, it's usually because you have a client that has an auto email that you set up that criteria fits a home that they have. So same thing goes here. So you're not going to get access to the client's email. You're going to get access to the agent of that client. And there are usually, in this market, dozens and dozens of them. And so you can just, at the click of a button, send an email out to all the agents that say, hey, I have a listing one of your clients might be interested in, and that's a great way to get your name out as well. Announce my listing. That is part of the icons that you have access to with the MLS, be it here in DFW or in Austin. I think there might be a fee for Announce My Listing, but it's a great marketing tool. Right? As the name suggests, it announces your listing. Photofy. So when you have a chance, go to Google and search for NAR space Photofy. And Photofy is an app that will post your content onto social media right from your phone. And NAR has content for us to post. Okay, so you can get a general Photofy account too. It should be free, by the way, and you can post all sorts of stuff. But real estate specific content, NAR has that out there for you. While I'm thinking about it, there are other companies out there that will post content for you on social media. One of which that is free is called Hootsuite, Hootsuite. It used to be free, don't quote me, but what they do is you enter in all of your profiles for all of your social media, and whatever you post on one, it posts it out to all the others. Okay. Now, clearly, there's other companies that will actually do the posting for you. But if you're in a financial position to do that, great. If not, there are apps like Photofy and Hootsuite out there that can do it for you. All right, Mailchimp, I mentioned Mailchimp before, Mailchimp.com. They do drip campaigns very, very well. I have the content on our website. Don't be afraid to use them or reach out to me for help. And then marketing content on our own website and on Backagent. So tons of stuff everywhere. You should never be searching for content to use for marketing or for your clients. We have it already made for you. Okay. All right. So that is it for the session today. Hope you found this useful. Again, if you need to reach out to me, set up a time that's on our website to really go deeper into some of these things. You're going to want to, just because there's just so much here to unpack. So hope you found this helpful, and we will see you next time.